seen the tape of these guys and come down for some of the games of this team? What has been your impressions?
I think they play pretty hard. I think the young guys have a good role. They haven't been given anything, but they get ice time, and they get ice time according to how they play. I think we have a couple good veteran guys here that provide leadership and good examples for our young kids. So there are a couple guys I'd like to go forward with here. They had a good run. Everything looked pretty good. It's a pretty good mix here of kids and vets, and maybe we just have to help them out a little bit more as far as talent level.
When you were watching and scouting this team before, you probably knew what everybody had in terms of tools, the prospects. But since you've been around part of the organization, what have you learned about the makeup of some of the players and getting to know their personalities, like Larson, Pesic, guys like that?
Well, I mean, those guys, look, they're pretty transparent from the outside looking in. Larson is a real competitive bugger, and he gives you everything he's got most nights and most shifts, and I think we knew that about him when he was drafted by Minnesota. Pesic is a very smart, steady defenseman that is probably a little bit better than I thought coming out of junior. I have to say that for sure. Maybe a little different than I thought. In saying that, I want him to take big strides here, and I don't want him to be happy being a safe puck-moving defenseman. I want him to expect more from himself, and I don't mean that in a negative. I think he's playing well. I just want him to be driven every shift to be more than he is, and at the end of the day, at the NHL level, he still may end up being what he is, but I just think that I'd like to see him push himself offensively, push himself in the transition game a little more, and I think it will help his career down the road.
Tim, I have no idea what's going to happen with Miller, obviously, but assuming if he does move on either now or at the end of the year, do you feel you have the goalie of the future in the organization right now?
We might. I haven't made that determination yet. We might. We have a couple good young goalies here. There's certainly, if one of them is the goalie of the future, it's not the near future. It's a little bit down the road. I don't think either one of them are ready to step in and start for the Buffalo Sabres. So goalies are a different animal and different breed, and it takes time to figure out which guy is that guy, and they usually sort it out, and it takes a little more time than forwards and defensemen. But certainly both young guys here have taken strides. They're both good size, which I like. I like big goalies. So I think that I have to see the team play a little more than I have to make that determination. That would be the one position that I'm a little iffy on. Not iffy, I'll waffle on. I don't waffle very often, but I'm going to just leave that out there and let those guys decide who it is, if it is, and who it is.
If there are some players moved, Steve Ott or Matt Molson or Drew Stafford or whoever, obviously that'll open up some spots on the NHL roster. Have you decided whether you're going to move up guys that are veterans who are here, like Kevin Porter, say, or are you going to bring young players back up? Have you decided on that yet?
Well, I'm leaning a certain way. I don't want to. That's an internal thing. Obviously, I don't want to just completely gut this team. They're in a playoff spot now. I think that playoffs are an extremely important part of development for young players. I won a championship as a GM of a team. I didn't have much to do with it. The players won, but I was part of it in 2011 in Binghamton. So I think you can figure out which way I'm leaning as far as the vets coming up or the kids coming up. But I certainly don't want to. I don't want to take all the kids from here and kind of leave the other kids in limbo here. So I would like to see this team succeed this year.
Several weeks back, I think you said something to the effect that everything's in players, the abundance of draft picks you have. Is that still the case?
For sure. I mean, nothing's changed. I'm all ears, and anything that can help the Sabre organization get better down the road. We know it's not going to be an extremely quick fix, so it's going to take some time. And anything that's going to help us in the future, I'm willing to listen to. So I mean, you know, it sounds like picks are what we need, but maybe it's a 22-year-old that can't find a spot in the organization he's with now, and that may be a high pick to get that guy. So as long as it stays with the program of being better in the near future, but not necessarily next year, it can be a player, it can be picks, it can be a young player being moved for a better young player or a future player, or it can be just the vets. You know, you have to have dance partners, and I can tell you what I want to do, but it'll be dictated by what other people want to do, obviously.
How have the trade talks been? I mean, has it gone on a lot during the Olympic break?
No, nothing. It's been very quiet. So I'm assuming people took holidays. It's a unique situation that, you know, there are a lot of veteran GMs have been at it a lot longer than I have, and this is a time that maybe last week, it was a week off maybe, and I didn't hear from anybody last week at all. And I just think that it was, you can't make a trade anyway, but I did get a text from a guy today, so a GM today, so I think now it'll start to get back on course before you can actually make a trade.
You enjoying it? I mean, how's it going for you personally?
Yeah,
things settling down.
I don't get much enjoyment out of anything in life, really. So yeah, I mean, how could you not enjoy it? But no, I love what I do, right? So I just get in my truck and keep plugging away and go from one destination to the next. And you know, I was in the office and around the staff for the last 3 or 4 days, going to games at night, and now I'm going to hit the road a little bit and do that part of the job. And I'm pretty pragmatic. You just put your head down and just keep going.
How many times have you seen this team live? Football park game? How many times have you got
This year?
Yeah.
This is my second time.
Oh, your second time
Yep.
here? Okay.
Yep.
Are you trying to personally see the top 10, say, on the?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. More than the top 10, but we've got 3 seconds and potentially 2 firsts. So, you know, 2 of those seconds could become 15, 19. So obviously I have to see more than the top 10. And just by seeing the top 30, you know, just taking your list out and looking at the top 30 and say you're going to see those guys 3 times each, you're going to see 75 guys that are on somebody's list. So I've seen a lot of the guys so far this year, not multiple viewings, but you know, I stayed out west up at the prospect game and I caught the Dreisaitl's and Reinhardt's and all those guys 2 and 3 times, and I have a good schedule in Ontario to catch Bennett and Del Cole and Ekblad and those guys 2 or 3 times in a week, so I'm on my way to pretending I know something.
I was going to say, how's Kelowna this time of year?
Yeah, I know Kelowna's nice this time of year. Better than this, but I'm heading home, so I'll be at home to take calls for a couple of days, and then I have like Moncton's and Gatineau, which is a good game for us on Wednesday, and I think Oshawa twice, Kingston twice, Barrie again, who I just saw last Thursday, Ottawa 67. So yeah, it's just a good 4 or 5 day little run and be back in the office Monday.
With Rochester being back with Buffalo now, it does make it probably a lot easier again to see the top 5 team than the other organizations.
Yeah, I think it's crucial. We had that kind of situation in Ottawa with Binghamton. You know, after a game you have an injury, they can play the same night as you and you have a guy in a car to be at the skate the next day. When you have to start using planes and stuff like that to get players that you need right away, it's a tough situation. So this is to me is the greatest situation in the league. Besides being able to view your kids, besides being able to have a presence here, which they, trust me, they pay attention to when you walk through the room before a game. Just the availability of players, besides everything else that goes with it. So I think it's an outstanding situation for sure. I'm a big proponent of something like this.
Hey, Tim, thanks a lot for
Okay,
stopping by.
yeah.
Appreciate it.